Because think about it, they may say stuff and give you advice. There may be other kind of behavior things you need to do. There may be Ifá medicine that needs to be added on. But if you are not honest,
I will say, Baba, I am perfectly fine with them keeping it to themselves. Because sometimes I don't want to know.
Yeah. Ekabo, and welcome to another episode of Talking Ifá with me, Babalawo Salako. In today's episode, I wanted to discuss the topic of what to expect in your first reading, especially what to expect in your first Ifá reading. I brought in Dr. Eric Adewuye Mason, a Babalawo and a good friend, to discuss this topic today. Make sure you like, share, and subscribe. With that being said, let's talk. Greetings. I'm Babalawo Salako. I was initiated as a priest of Ifá and Obatala in Nigeria in 2006, and I've been practicing the Ifá Orisha religion for over 30 years now. My mission is simple: to help those who are new to the religion or lost in the religion. So if that's you, then buckle up and join me. This is Talking Ifá. Ekabo, and welcome to another episode of Talking Ifá with me, Babalawo Salako. Today I have the great esteemed guest of Baba Eric Adewuye Mason, Dr. Eric Adewuye Mason. And so today we're going to talk about what it's like and what to expect when you go for your first reading, your first Ifá reading. So what I was going to say then is, so if a person's brand new or they're new to the religion, they say, oh, I'm getting ready to go get my first reading. What should I expect? What would you recommend?
So I sort of start with their preparation before. So my typical way of dealing with people who I'm aware or I'm sending for divination, who are coming to divine with Kola and I, I normally have a 30 to 40 minute conversation ahead of time on explaining a few things and how to organize themselves for the divination. So a couple of things is I think people should be aware of what kind of priest they're getting a divination from, or which perspective that particular priest is functioning from.
Right.
So if they're getting a divination from a priest of one of the other Orisha who uses cowrie shells, then they should be aware of that. If they're getting a divination done from a Babalawo or Iyanifa who is using Ikin or Puele, if they're getting a divination done by an Iyanifa or Babalawo who is also consecrated to another Orisha who uses shells to divine, they should know which perspective that priest is divining from so that they're clear about what to expect. So there are particular tools that are used by particular priests in particular functions.
Right. And
so they should know that, because that tells them what they can expect in terms of how the messages might be delivered, how Elba might be performed for them, whether and if they're engaged in some other practices that use other divination tools like tarot cards and mediumistic readings, then they may not be any prescriptions that come from those. But I think that's important to know what kind of divination, what kind of priest, and that leads into what kind of tools are used.
So do you go deep as saying, oh, this is Miridelogun or this is Ifá? Because some people go, like they may get a divination and they've been online. And so they'll get their Odu. They want to know what their Odu. They say, oh, this Odu. So you get their marking Odu. So then they go online later and research that Odu, and then they come back and say, oh, well, my Odu said X, Y, and Z. Now, would you then tell them it depends on if they had cowrie shells, the Mirindelogun, or Ifá in terms of how the Odu, because cowrie shells, the Odus might have different messages in them than in Ifá, even though they may be some of the same messages, but they may be under a different Odu.
Correct. So you mentioned about people doing online, and I spoke to someone a couple of days ago who had a divination performed. I asked how was it done. They said, well, it was over Zoom. I said, so describe for me the tools that they used. And they said, well, they didn't use any tools while we were on the Zoom. They listened to me tell them what was going on with my life, and then they came back to me and emailed me the Odu and then this blurb for messages. I was like, so you were on the Zoom with the person, but they didn't actually conduct the divination while they're on a Zoom with you so you could see what they were doing. I said, no. I said, okay. Now, it's not unusual not to be present. There are, definite ways to do distance divination that the person may not be present. But with all the technology we have, it's very easy to be present during the process.
Unless you're incapacitated, like you're in a hospital,
correct,
and et cetera. Yeah.
Right. But for the vast majority of us, it's easy to be present, during the divination and not just outsource it like his Amazon packaging, So there's a way to do that.
Right.
So I generally recommend that you get to see it, so you know what they're doing for you.
Right.
Right. And many people that go online and just find someone, I'm like, well, do you know this person?
Right.
Did you check them out?
Well, I think sometimes people get especially when it comes to Nigerian priests in Nigeria, it may be difficult for them a lot of times to sit there on the camera and watch them. They may just say, oh, we're going to do this, and they do work for them, and they go back and they send them the results. I know you got issues with that. I'm not saying people do it though. I have some of the young Babalawo that we met in 2019 when we went there in 2019. I still talk to them all the time. Right. They call me on video and they say, brother, we're doing this ritual we wanted you to see. Oh, really?
All the time.
Okay.
Or they record the video and send it. So this idea.
But I mean, a lot of people do it that way though. They just contact them on Facebook.
Yes, weird.
And then they, they do this for them, and they.
It's all so very weird. It's also.
I'll just say what people are doing. So,
it's all very, very weird. Okay, if there was somebody that I knew and trusted, then I don't have to watch.
Right. Yeah, after you've done the first one, but and you trust them after a while.
Right. But if I've never seen you do it, I don't know if you're just shaking cans. I don't know what you're doing.
Yeah, I would say that too, because your first one, the ideal situation is for you to be in person. But if it's not possible, then at least be on the phone or on FaceTime, or even if you're on the phone and you hear them doing stuff and they're talking to you while they're doing it, is better. So over time, and then of course the proof's in the pudding. Does the results help their situation. Now, in this person's situation, where they explained all of their issues up front, then of course the priest already knew kind of what to deal with and interpret.
And honestly, that's exactly what the message sounded like. But that's not unusual. Mm-hmm. We've done quite a few times. We've rescued people from online, chicanery. Mm-hmm. And it's just not, it's not a fun thing.
Right.
And I think in all of those instances, we had chosen to do it for free. Mm-hmm. Because we were trying to make certain that those people understood that, this doesn't have to be painful like this. And it seems like you've already, spent, hundreds and thousands of dollars with people who are just, duping you.
Right.
That let's try to do something that's consistent with the practice, and that, that this isn't expressly a money-making enterprise for us.
Right. Even though it is an expensive religion. Can be.
Read my article. It'll be coming out because I can give the general outlines. On the whole, Orisha tradition, if you take it over the course of 10 years, is cheaper than Christianity by far.
But first, I want to encourage you to align your 2026 with Ifá Orisha tradition. The 2026 Ifá Days calendar and planner are here. So you can track your Itado Gun days, the 4-day week, the sacred Orisha days to keep your spiritual path in focus. This is perfect for organizing your rituals, your growth, your daily life, all in one place. So I strongly encourage you to secure your Ifá Orisha history today. Get yours now at talkingifa.carrd.co. talkingifa.carrd.co. Oh yeah, it's just that it's concentrated in the little hits every now and then.
And my recommendation for people is, if you know that your history has been that you get 1 to 3 divinations per year, put your money aside.
So that's great advice, but it's the same advice you would give somebody about managing their money in general that can't manage their money.
You're right, but their impression of it being expensive is precisely because of those hits.
Right.
And so because they're occurring, it's, but if you know what to expect, mm-hmm. Even if you're just saving for your annual divination, the same set of people who don't have good money management skills are putting money aside every week when they go to church.
Right.
So I would recommend that whatever it is you do, if you feel like you want to give it to the priest you like to use, or if you want to, put in a separate savings account, whatever the thing is,
do something.
Because it doesn't make any sense why you should be getting hit.
Right.
When you have to divine.
But so I'm not going to bring up this person that we all know that comes every time. and every time they have the sob story that they're almost homeless and all of that. But anyway, I won't go there.
Won't bring that up.
So the other thing, though, I would say is especially people come from Christianity. Mm-hmm. One of the shocks they have when they come to this religion is that, they say, in Christianity you're taught sacrifice and blood sacrifice and all that's evil and all of that. And we don't believe that. So in our religion, some people come.
Who teach that in Christianity?
I hear it all the time online where people that are Christian podcasts saying that are preachers.
So the largest number,
even though they did it.
No, the largest number of Christians in the world are Catholic.
Right.
Catholics participate in sacrifice every Mass.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And they do not subscribe to the idea that it is symbolic. It is the performance of the actual sacrifice, the actual ritual. And the ritual transforms the wafer and the wine into flesh and blood. Whether or not you can see it, its spiritual and divine substance are those things, and they are consuming them. This is their sacrifice that they are performing.
I understand that, but
every Mass.
But so let's get into the supremacist point of view, though. The problem with that is, though, they still think that what they do is okay and what you do is wrong.
Oh, well, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
That's always the case. But before the producer gets upset with us, we're gonna get back to topic, Baba.
Okay.
What to expect when you're coming for your first divination? Right. One, you should know whether or not what kind of priest in the tradition you're doing a divination with.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so let's go down the line of Babalawo and Iyanifa, and so let's use that. So, what kind of tools will the Babalawo and Iyanifa be using?
Well, this thing here we call an iroke is one of the things that we would use. They should also expect, okay, so different lineages do it differently. Our lineage, we use the Opon Ifá, mm-hmm. which has a sacred powder, we call it Yerosun. And we were taught to use Iking, at least in the beginning, for the primary Odu. Yeah. Then beyond that, we use Opuele.
Correct.
Some people only use Opuele,
right.
and they don't divine with Iking, except special occasions or maybe not at all. So it depends on where they're coming from. They could expect either or.
And both are perfectly legitimate to use. Right. Our lineage just requires
it requires
the use of Iking.
Right. So now the other parts to expect. Well, first of all, like you said, they should prepare and get their questions together. Now you have a whole
I do have a whole thing. I have a whole thing
about questions, proper questions. I know that, but everybody's not going to know that.
I have a whole thing, man.
First. So they ask their question and try to be as concise as possible. Unless they go through your class of training, how to properly ask a question, and they're also going to do the proper way. Normally is they whisper their question. They don't let the diviner hear what they're asking for. So say, for instance, we give them the implements we're going to use. Say if we're going to use Iking, and we give them the Iking, or we have the Iking in our pouch, or if we hold it, and they whisper your questions. And when you give it to the diviner, then they're going to divine, and an Odu is going to be revealed. The primary Odu to guide them. Then they're going to ask the orientation, like what is the energy that is accompanying that Odu, whether it's positive or negative. And if it's positive, you can ask what type of positivity. If it's negative, you ask what type of negativity. Right. You get into those kind of details. And sometimes you may ask what is the guiding or whatever primary entity or Orisha that's coming to bring Ire to you. Mm-hmm. You don't have to do that, but that's an optional. But then they're going to tell you what the message is from the Odu. Then
let's add the piece that the Awo should chant the poems from the Odu.
Okay, so let's talk about that for a minute. So they should, I guess, especially Isheshe in our lineage, but a lot of times people come from other ones, like the one I came from, which was out initially before I came with Baba Wande and Baba Kola, was out of Oyatunji.
Mm-hmm.
And so the Babalawo there, he only divined with Apuele, and they didn't chant. A lot of them don't chant. They just tell you the story. So it depends on, it's not always going to be the case they're going to chant, but that's the ideal situation.
Well, we're describing primarily from Isheshe's perspective.
Right.
So now, particularly for the first one, right? This is your first.
Right.
So you want the full experience.
Okay. Right.
You want to hear the beauty of the chanting.
Right.
So they should chant the poem. And
Well, to tell them this then. So, because we believe that chanting is very important in the sense of the invocation of the energy or the spiritual energy of that Odu that can start working for you immediately especially if you chant it in Yoruba, but Ifá understands all languages. If technically somebody could chant in English or Spanish,
yeah.
but the best way is Yoruba. Now, does that what you would say, that is the chanting is for the energy versus somebody who doesn't chant? Because most people in the United States are not going to understand what they're saying anyway.
Still gotta do it though.
I know that, but I'm asking you. What would you say?
I agree. It adds a particular flavor. It also helps to add the idea of authenticity to what it is you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Many of us are recording, right? Our divinations in some form or fashion, either video or audio,
mm-hmm.
right? And I've gotten plenty of people who say, "Can you help me interpret, what this Babalawo said?"
Mm-hmm.
And so, I don't think that's a bad thing. I think
that they ask the question.
Yeah, because
mm-hmm.
if you don't know what exactly they said during the chanting, you have the ability, or where they're pulling the interpretations from, right? And so there are plenty of people who over time began to distrust the people who divined for them a year ago or 2 years ago. And you may want some information that someone else can provide. Can you tell me, do you know this poem? Or is the person just a Yoruba language speaker who's just saying random things in a sing-songy way that
mm-hmm.
makes me think they're chanting a poem?
Right.
And so it adds authenticity to, and remember, I said I'm a skeptic, so I'm skeptical.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So you have to show me
mm-hmm.
that you are what you say you are.
Right.
Once I trust you, then we're fine. Once I know that, yes, you know how to chant poems. Yes, I know you know how to interpret. Yes, I know you know how to do all of the other components. Then sure.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I want to see everything.
Right. Okay. So then, what weight would you put on that versus the weight of the results for the client? Do they feel like they benefited and it worked for them?
Okay. So, the results are important for everyone, but we are doing something in a particular practice, a
mm-hmm.
particular tradition. So are there people who say that they divine with tarot cards for Orisha and perform ebo, that they use the cards to mark, and if it is effective, are we supposed to say that that's Isheshe?
Well, that's another topic. You're right. If you're practicing a certain tradition, if you state that's what you're doing,
right,
that's tarot cards are, and I'm glad you brought that up. So for people that are new, tarot cards are not Ifá, it's not as deep as that. But the other part is, the main part you need to know is tarot cards do not require a offering or sacrifice normally. you said if they were using it to do Ifá, but they don't require it. Normally people just come
Sure.
and they get advice and they say, okay, should I date this guy or not? Oh, yeah, it's good. Okay. And then they leave and that's it. But they can't expect the same thing with this.
But there are a hybrid set of folks who are using it
Tarot cards to do the whole thing?
to do the whole thing. And so
I never heard of that part.
Yeah. and so because they are doing that, but this is why I can't just focus on outcome.
Mm-hmm.
Because that could have worked for someone.
Right.
But it's still not consistent with our tradition.
Right. They're doing something else.
They're doing something else. So if someone else wants to be completely outcome based, they are free to, right? And they can shake hands if they want to, if they get the outcomes that they want.
Mm-hmm.
But because we're trying to get good outcomes within the context of this tradition,
Right.
then we want all of the algorithmic components of this tradition to play out.
Right. But you made me think about something else that I want to go into. That's a different topic of Ifá medicine versus Ogun medicine. But
Okay.
But I won't go there today.
New topic, Bob. New topic, Bob.
You just made me think about that. But yeah, in terms of divination and that kind of thing, yeah, if you say you're coming from an Ifá reading, what to expect needs to be something that's consistent with the tradition. Otherwise, you're not really getting an Ifá reading. You're getting something else.
You're getting something
That's
else.
what you're saying.
Right.
Okay. So we covered, okay. So let me start again. So we covered how to prepare in advance, or at least how you tell them to prepare. You meet with them and give them guidance. Yeah. So for people that's not divining with you and they divining just somebody else out there, they should in advance get their questions together, what they're going to ask for,
Right.
What to expect to know that what they're getting is authentic, an authentic Ifá divination, kind of the things we talked about, what to expect later. The part of the whole reading is not just marking and divining the Odu and chanting and explaining it. It's also the Ebo, and it's also any guidance or taboos that may come out of that, because part of the Ebo is something that you have to do. So that's what people have to understand is, don't come to an Ifá reading that it's going to just solve all your problems overnight and you're going to get one divination. And a lot of times with new people, it might be, they got to understand, okay, so if you come to your first reading, you may have 25 years of baggage and spiritual baggage, emotional baggage, and you're bringing it into that divination. Mm-hmm. So you come for this thing. Say you ask for this one topic, I'm interested in a job. Ifá may say, well, there's something going on with your health that's more important. So Ifá is going to reveal something about your health, and then, may talk about your job too, or maybe other things.
It needs to mention the job.
Yeah, it does.
Because the divination has to touch on why you came.
Right.
If it doesn't touch on why you came, then it can just be some random guy making up some random stuff for you. It needs to address,
right?
Even if it's just to say, don't worry about that.
Right.
So, in one of the poems in Osa Meiji about Aye coming for divination, Aye comes for divination and wants to know if she'll have children. She's told, don't worry about having children. You need to be worried about the Ajogun. So, but you still have to address the reason why the person came. Because too often people will say, well, I went to divine for this. I was struggling with my health and they told me that I need to be worried about my mother or father dying. But the person is still, riddled with cancer, still dealing with, and then that's never addressed. The reason a person came has to be
Oh yeah, definitely.
one of the things that's addressed.
Right.
Even if you're saying the Orisha going to take care of that, don't worry about that.
Right. And then the other thing, I guess they should, what I was going to say, they shouldn't expect necessarily all the time that all, whatever the issue is all going to be solved right away, because there's the whole thing about bit by bit, we eat the head of a rat. Sometimes, like I know in Agunda Bede or Agunda Bogbe, a lot of times it's saying that the solution to your issue is going to be a long, drawn-out solution. You're going to have to work for years working on this. So there may be a lot of different things you have to do on your own, a lot of different divinations and ebos over years to get to where you want to go. Then there's other things that, you need protection today because if you leave, there may be an auto accident and something that may go right there.
I like to think about that as the difference between a cure and a treatment.
Okay.
There are plenty of conditions that are going on in somebody's life that you can cure. Other ones have to be treated, and that treatment plan may be years.
Right.
And there may not be an end.
Right. Right. So they should expect that.
So I always let people know that the divination can say anything. It can tell you that you might need to consecrate to one of the Orisha. It can include prescriptions for Ebo, and that may include live animals.
Before we move on with the podcast, I want to tell you about something I know you're going to love. Discover Ashe Life. Get your high quality t-shirts and long sleeves featuring powerful Orisha designs like Oshun, Yemoja, Shango, and many more. They come available in multiple colors. These are comfortable fits made to wear every day. And this is more than just clothing. Ashe Life is about walking in blessings, embracing your path, and carrying that divine energy with you. So visit ashelife.com today and wear your Ashe. From the family behind talkingifa, Ashe.
So you may have to receive some Orisha's icon. Mm-hmm. You may have to wear nothing but white. Every day or every 4 days. So these are requirements that can come to you, and I try to because I've had experience, where someone had us divine for their mom, and the mom had never done any kind of Orisha related stuff in life. Mm-hmm. And the mom was, the messages were quite clear about being able to let go of things to, for your life to proceed. Well, the mom had a very particular thing that they were interested in. They wanted to know if their estranged husband was going to come back. Mm. And the messages were clear, like, you need to move on. Right? This is, that there's nothing for you here. But that's not the kind of message that person wanted to hear. Right. So because I'd had, it must have been like an hour and a half conversation, over 2 periods, trying to explain all of the various things that can happen, including being told that you need to not worry about the thing you're worried about. Mm-hmm. And, so when it came out like that, mom still wasn't happy, but wasn't surprised. And so I tried to be as extensive as possible about all of the various kinds of things that you can be told, because people who are new to it, it's just, it doesn't resemble anything you ever do in life.
Right.
And so it's like, nobody likes any of that.
No, you're right. They don't. Now, the other part I would add on to that is I would recommend that they be honest, because say for instance, if it's something that you go for a reading for, and you, especially if there's other people in the room or whatever, and you really don't want this revealed, you don't understand. I call going toward divination is like revealing the naked truth, kind of say. So
Yeah.
You have to be open to what it's like being naked in front of people, because
Absolutely.
Ifá might reveal something that you're like, wow, nobody knew that, and I didn't want people to know that. And then you may, as a diviner, may talk to them about it. They don't want to admit it. So then you might ask them at the end, well, does anything here touch on your issue or something like that? They may say yes, but then they don't want to tell you what the issue was, so you can't really
Help them
even more, elaborate. Okay, well, if this is your issue, do X, Y, Z, because they don't want to admit it because they're hiding it.
Sure.
So I would recommend, if you're going for divination, you have to be open to being honest, open and honest, and say, okay, yeah, these things are going on in my life, because then that's going to allow the diviner to help you even more. Because think about it, they may say stuff and give you advice. There may be other kind of behavior things you need to do. There may be Ifá medicine that needs to be added on. But if you are not honest,
I will say, Baba, I am perfectly fine with them keeping it to themselves. Because sometimes I don't want to know.
yeah, I hear that. But I'm talking about from their point of view. That's yours. I'm just saying of theirs to get the most out of it. That's what they should do. But I understand what you're saying.
Yeah, but I will say, even as a client going for divination, once I understand it myself, I'm clear. I don't feel the need to share.
Right.
Once Ifá's messages are clear about the circumstance, I'm like, okay, yeah, I got it. I heard you.
Right.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
And I feel no need to share anything.
And well, unless you have other questions about it.
Correct.
That you need some clarity on.
Correct. Yeah.
But if you're just cool with, okay, they can, then you move on. But I would suggest, if you want to get the most out of it, you have to at least be willing to try to be open. But a lot of times you may.
Yeah,
it may not be important to be open about it.
Yeah. But it can be helpful.
It can be helpful.
After the fact, after the initial messages have been given, then if you want to be open about it, because prior to that,
you should.
Yeah, you're not sharing.
You're not sharing.
Okay. But yeah, so then after all of that, then you come up with the prescription, which can be a lot of things, because it does not mean sacrifice. We participated in some interesting rituals. Like there was one we did that required pegs to be placed around a person's home.
Right.
There were no animals or food items involved. There are times when you might be told to place your Ifá, at a certain place in your home over the course of 3 to 7 days. That may be the Ebo.
Right.
And so there are various kinds of rituals that can be performed that are Ebo, but are not offering or sacrifice based.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I think that was great information for people. Hopefully that answers any questions for people that are new and they want to come in. And of course, they could always reach out if you want to know Baba Eric's methods. If you reach out, you can reach out and email me, and I want to talk to Baba Eric about it. Okay, and then I'll refer you to
or join Ifá University.
Join Ifá University.
Or the Orisha Spiritual Assembly, and there are repeated classes throughout the year where we talk about Orisha praxis, and how to go to divination is one of those courses.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much. And thank everyone for joining us today. And I look forward to seeing you on our next episode of Talking Ifá with me, Babalawo Salako. Ireo Odabo.